to start with, we'll just talk about what is a GS24. So the GS24 is our smallest kind of vinyl cutter. Entry level, yeah. We do a really basic, very small sort of hobbyist machine called a sticker as well. But this is the the entry level, the smaller size of our vinyl cutters. And as the name says, it's a GS24, the 24 referring to the size of the area. So it's 24-inch wide machine. That's how it normally works with the Roland machines. And in the pictures there on screen, you should be able to see one on a stand, and you can see a picture of the menu panel as well that comes on all of our devices. On the screen, it does say that the GS24 vinyl cutter is a well-established entry-level cutter. Well-established meaning that this was pretty much a variation or an iteration on the very first machines that Roland DG made, which were
the pen plotters.
Yeah,
the DXY pen plotters, and these were Japan basically said, let's take the pen out and put a blade in, and this is what happened.
Yeah, so we had these little pen plotters that drew diagrams in the X and sort of Y axes, and then they decided to make them roll fed and put a blade in it pretty much. And here we are. So there you go, little questions come up already. What's the difference between the GX24 and the GS24?
The GS has just got a newer style cutting carriage, so you've got a bit more force on it, so I think it's up to 350, whereas the GX was about 300. And it's just a new updated system. The GX24 was around for about 10 years. So this is just a newer, improved model.
Yeah.
The functionality is exactly the same.
Yeah. There we go. So yeah, same principle of machine. They've updated a few bits and bobs. I think the carriage is different on this. I don't know if there's any other options on the menu panel or not, and the force is a little bit stronger, but
the options are pretty much the same for both machines. It's just the force and the ability to be able to cut thicker substrates is better on this.
There we go. So hopefully that answers your question. And another one, what's the difference between the GS and the BN20?
The GS is cut only. The BN20 is a printer cutter.
There we go. So the GS, you'd be able to print out solid coloured vinyls and things like that. And on the BN20, you'd be able to print those and then cut them afterwards. Oh, another question already coming in. Can the cutting strip from a GX24 be used on a GS24, as there's abundance of cutting strips in EU for the GS?
I think they're different thicknesses from memory. I'd need to check that, but I'm pretty sure they're different sizes, different thickness on the strips. Yeah,
we might need to check that one. That from that question there about the cutting strips. Not entirely sure. Normally we'd have one in front of us and be able to check, but yeah. So we can double check at the end, or take your details, or and we'll ping you back a question, an answer at the end. So in essence, the GS24 is a small vinyl cutter which feeds through either sheets or pieces or roll-fed material, and it will cut through it.
Basically.
That's pretty much it. So yeah, as I said, an iteration from when Roland started making cutters and then have moved on from there. So why would you want to buy one to get started? As it said on the screen here, the GS24 is kind of the baby of the group of machines that we sell, but it comes with all the same features and benefits that you get from buying a machine from Roland, such as the ease of use, the reliability, and technical support. So, and the machine comes with a 2-year silver warranty. That's right.
Yeah.
There we go. So, our Roland Care, or the sort of warranty structure and care structure that we have in place here, comes at slightly different levels. So, we've got bronze, silver, and gold levels, and they all basically cover the same thing, but it's kind of response times that vary. So, with the GS24, with the cutters, you get a 2-year standard warranty included, which is a silver, which is the sort of medium level, which basically means that we'll fix it.
In 2 days.
There you go. Within 2 days, we'll come out and fix your machine. So when you buy a Roland machine, you're not just buying a bit of kit that we'll dump over there and leave you to figure out. There's a whole bunch of support that comes with it. Roland Care being one, the fact that we've got technical support on the phones, so those guys can normally fix all of your issues without needing anything else. We've got the Roland Academy, so we do training on a whole variety of our kit as well. We've got a creative centre here in our headquarters just south of Bristol, so you can come and see all the different bits of kit in action. You can sort of test machines, you can see what you can do with them as well. And I mean, especially with the cutters, the reliability is a key factor. They're workhorses and they're built to last. I mean,
we still have cutters in the market that are 18 to 20 years old and functioning perfectly.
There you go. And people tend to keep them as well. So we'll talk a little bit about the sort of progression that you might go through if you started with a cutter, but most people who do move on do tend to stick with their cutter as well because they just keep going.
Yeah.
I've got a friend of mine who's had one for forever. I think it does everything that he's ever wanted to do, and he's looking at a printer cutter as well. But he definitely keep his GS in the end. So it's a really great starting point for looking into moving into either the sort of print market or just sticking with cut. It doesn't mean that you have to get into the print market. So if you were interested in getting one, where could you get one?
Most dealers throughout the UK.
There we go. So we sell through a chain of resellers. We don't actually sell the machines directly here at Roland. And we've got a whole bunch of these different dealers that are dotted all around the country. So if you wanted somebody that was close to you, if you get in touch, we'll be able to buddy you up with one of our dealers who would be close to you, so that you'd have somebody within driving distance, whatever it might be, to be able to get spares, or if you wanted to go and see them or anything like that. But in effect, you don't have to go to the nearest person because anything can be shipped to you. So,
or if you wanted to come and see us here, we'd be more happy to show you and give you a tour of the machine.
There we go. So as I said, we don't sell them here, but you can come and see us to have a demo or to talk through the kit. But yeah, the dealers also all have these in their showrooms, so you go and see it and test and try what your applications might be and talk through purchasing options and things like that with our dealers. But in essence, yeah, they all have them at their places and they will ship to you, and they'll talk you through how it would work and all the processes that come with that. And once you buy one of our machines, everything comes with the machine in order to get started. So it's not like you've got to buy a machine and then you've got to buy additional, parts or bits of kit or whatever to make it work. It all comes in the box. So if you do go and talk to a dealer as well, a lot of them will specialize in certain applications and things. So they will, they will be able to talk you through materials and any accessories and things. So a little question's just popped up there. Does the GS24 come with any design software? It doesn't actually come with design software as such, but it comes with every bit of software to make it work. So we will talk through softwares in a little bit. We've got another slide coming up next week, which will talk through a little bit about software. But once you've got a design, then the machine will take care of the rest. But yeah, in terms of design software, you can use pretty much any software. We'll come to that next. So just bear with us a moment. There we go. So the GS is connected to your machine via USB. So all you need is a computer of some sort, a laptop, a PC, whatever it might be, in order to connect to the machine so that the two can communicate via a USB cable. And then it comes with
Roland Cut Studio is a downloadable software that comes with the machine. It's a basic software. You can design in it to a certain degree, so you can do your text and simple vector files, but that's about its limit. It's not a fancy software. That's where you would use something like Corel Draw instead.
There we go. So it does come with a basic design package, as in you can create shapes and.
If you were doing t-shirts and text and things and just vector logos, it would be absolutely fine with that. There's actually an image outline trace inside the software which works very well on vector only format.
So there we go. That's Roland Cut Studio. On the image you can see on screen, that's the top left. But then whatever other softwares that you would like to use for creating your designs is kind of up to you. So Corel Draw is a very popular option. We've got things like Adobe Illustrator or Flexi Sign or SignLab. Anything that can create vectors. Pretty much, you'll be able to import those into Cut Studio and send them through to the machine. And another question that's popped up there, Lee, can you use it on a Mac?
You can. There is an Adobe plugin for the Mac that you can use, which is downloadable from our download center, I believe.
There we go. So if you're using Adobe, then you'll be able to put
the parallel on it and run. Yeah, you can do it.
Okay, yeah. So there is a way of working that as well. So these bits of software are basically going to send the information to the cutter so that it knows where to cut. That's pretty much it. So in terms of setting up a GS, there's you can put it wherever you want. As we mentioned in that previous slide, it is a portable device.
I can carry it under my arm. So.
There we go. So it's not huge, and it means that you can stick it in the boot of a car and take it somewhere if you needed to. And what we find is that quite a lot of people would have one of these perhaps in their spare room at home, maybe in their garage, shed, wherever you can put it really. And if you were looking to do this as a sort of side hobby, or if you're looking to set up as a business, all you really need is a sort of desk space with the device, a computer, and as you can see on screen, a couple of the other pictures there. As you start to sort of move forward, you're probably going to want a little bit of extra storage in terms of storing your vinyls, your materials, a little workspace or something like that. I don't know what else you would recommend, Ronnie, but I think it
fits pretty much anywhere.
Yeah. So some people might have a specific space for it, but it's pretty quiet as well.
Yeah, very quiet.
Whilst it's working, so it can be.
You don't need to have it on stand either. So if you wanted to put it, for example, I have mine on my windowsill temporarily, so it's quite narrow in itself as well, so it will just fit on any ledge or anything that you need it to.
There you go. So the size of it is not huge. You can see it. There's an older version in the picture there, but well, it's 24, just bigger than 24 inches.
Well, that's the GX24 in the picture.
Yeah, but that's the size of it, so it can, it can sit on a normal desk space. It could probably even fit on a wide shelf. It's not huge, and it just needs a bit of space for the roll to be able to go.
Or if you're cutting pieces, as long as the piece of material is straight in the back, so it feeds through straight, you can really put it anywhere.
So setting it up is pretty easy. When it comes through, when you get your machine delivered, is it pretty easy to get set up, Ron?
Yeah, you just download the drivers, install the drivers. I believe they're on a disk, so install the drivers, and then plug it into your laptop, and away you go.
Little questions popped up there from Andy. Is there any advantage to having it on a stand?
I would say yes if you were doing long runs, because on the stand is like a wavy piece of plastic that the roll sits in with little rollers on. And as the media is feeding through, it feeds it through a lot straighter than if it was on a table, for example. So it just, if you're doing longer runs, I would say yes. If you're doing pieces, I don't see the benefit.
Yeah, makes sense. I guess if it's on a stand, you can wheel it about. So if you do need to move it around your workshop or something like that, then that would help. And it's kind of waist height-ish if it's on a stand.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's up to you.
But if you're doing small pieces, then it really isn't worth it. It's only worth it if you actually put 10 meter, 25 meter rolls on, then it's worth it. Or vehicle graphics, for example, when you're doing long stripes and things, you do need it.
So next up, we'll take a look at what else you might need. These are just very basic options on the screen, but depending on what you're going to be producing with your machine, you may want to get a bit more space within your, wherever it is, your spare bedroom, your workshop. Sorry, a question has just popped up there saying, is there meant to be a live video to accompany this webinar? Yes, you should on screen see the presentation that we're running through. Can you not see that? Sorry, just checking. There's a presentation that's on the screen at the moment. Mark, just to check, if you're viewing on a mobile device, sometimes it doesn't work, but normally just want to check that the other guys here can see on the screen the different images that we've got. We're running through a presentation whilst the voice is happening here. Oh, somebody's saying they can see the slides. You might just want to check maybe with your connection or the settings if the other guys can see the slides okay. Just need a flash plugin. There we go. So Mark, you might just need to update your flash plugin to be able to see the slides that we're working through. Also, as I mentioned, these webinars will be recorded, and we're just working on a little area on our website to host them, so you will be able to watch these back as well. You can see the slides. Yeah, sorry, no, we don't have the video turned on. My webcams we don't normally use the webcam unless we needed to, so don't have the webcam on at the moment, just the slides, just for clarification there. Sorry. So yeah, as we were saying, You might want a bit of extra workshop space, especially if you're going to be needing to do things like Ronnie was just saying, larger vehicle graphics. You might want to lay those flat whilst you're applying application tape and things like that in order to be able to transfer it to the vehicle. And you might want to do trimming and weeding. So having some kind of workbench or something to be able to put your graphics on can really, really help. And if you do have a workbench, you probably want to make sure it's as flat as possible. Just because when you are working with applying graphics and things, it'll make it a lot easier. You can get nice cutting sheets for the top of them as well, so that you can cut through and trim your graphics in situ like this. You're probably going to want some kind of storage for your vinyl. You can get specific media racks. You can get ones that are wall mounted. I don't know, how do you store your vinyl, Ronnie?
In the IKEA cabinet with the squares, and I just put it in. The rolls, obviously, all the heat transfer and things that you use, they're all 500 mil rolls, so they're actually quite short. So you can actually just put them in a shelving unit, and they will hang out in front quite nicely.
Perfect. Yeah.
Doesn't need to be anything fancy. If it's starting up, doesn't need to be anything.
Yeah, you can probably make one yourself. You can buy the different media storage racks that either go on the wall or, as you can see in the middle there, that sort of vertical one. You can buy them, you can make them yourself. You can get ones that have got a sort of pole that goes through the middle and holds them up on the wall, whatever works for you. And then any other sort of accessories. I mean, if you're going to be doing any kind of heat transfer, so if you're going to be doing garments or tote bags or trainers or caps or whatever it might be, then you're going to need some kind of a heat press. And heat presses come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes.
Oh, it start from 50 quid up to 1,000. It depends where you want to go with it, really.
So I don't know what most people would probably spend in the region of £500 up, I would have thought, if they wanted to get one that's going to be a sort of more production level.
If you were starting out, I'd probably think if you were buying a package just to begin with, I think it'd be worth going buying a cheaper one, realising that it's not up to the task, and then getting a nicer one once you've got yourself established. I mean, mine was only a few hundred quid.
Yeah.
So you don't need to spend a lot to begin with. Just get your business behind you and then start investing. A heat press should be, in my opinion, one of the first things you invest in when you've got yourself established. Makes a big difference.
So it moves on from the old days of using an iron to put things onto your clothes.
Don't do that.
You need a nice even heat distribution to be able to press this your heat transfer graphics onto your t-shirt, which is where you can use a heat press, and they come in sort of the clam option, like you can see there. They come in swings. They have ones where you've got two different beds so that you can set up two t-shirts at the same time, or garments, or whatever it might be.
I'd recommend a swing arm though, because otherwise you get burnt fingers.
No, yeah.
From experience.
So a heat press is a very common thing that you would use, unless you're going to be doing, you're just looking at doing van graphics or wall graphics or something like that, in which case you would need one. And then all the other bits and bobs tools, squeegees, weeding blades, weeding tools, knives.
Get a proper weeding tool. Don't get a cheap one. Get a really good one. It will save you so much time.
And just to clarify as well, just in case you guys are wondering what on earth weeding is. Weeding is when, once you've cut out some lettering, there'll be, for example, you're cutting lettering out of a coloured vinyl. You'll need to take away the vinyl that's left over. So peeling that off is called weeding. And there's no way around it, really.
No. And the smaller the text you do, the harder it is.
Yeah. So as a little tip there, actually, sometimes if you are doing really, really small text, sometimes when you're weeding, the text might lift off with the material. And a way around that can be to stick the application tape on first and then weed the background off of the application tape, because it's got stronger adhesive. So once you've sort of got your machine and you're looking to set up your business and you're looking at where you want to sort of promote yourself or where you're going to be advertising and things, the strongest thing that I would suggest is doing your research. So, where are you going to be selling your material, your output? What competition do you have? What are the sort of price brackets that you're going to be looking at that people are going to be selling similar products for? Are you going to be selling a little bit of everything, or are you going to specialize in one specific output? It's quite important to get all of that figured out before you buy your machine. Although, with a machine such as the GS, it's not a huge investment, and it's going to look after itself as well. So it is kind of a machine that you pretty much could just pick up and get going and figure this stuff out along the way. But
again, the Cut Studio is so easy to use. You can make t-shirts in half an hour easily.
Yeah. So
the only thing you need to buy extra for the machine is the vinyl. You've got the vinyl already there. As soon as it arrives, set it up and go.
Perfect. And then how are you going to, get yourself out there? How are you going to sell your stuff? So whether you've got a small shop, whether you're going to be looking on, an online selling platforms such as eBay or Etsy, or
Facebook shops now are really popular. I find, especially the sponsored links that you can pay £5 for, and you can put a link up so people see it. I mean, that's £5 well spent. I know I click on them.
Yeah, get a huge reach for your product by doing it on social media as well, and of course word of mouth. Getting it out there. I mean, if you've got a cutter, you can cut yourself little stickers as well.
Yes.
You can obviously advertise by using your machine as well. So a little bit more about the machine. There's loads that you can do with your machine. It cuts sheet or roll fed material that you put into it. That's pretty much it. So the limitations are just going to be on size
and thickness. I mean, it does cut card. We get asked a lot if it can do card, and the answer is yes, it can. But it depends on the makeup of the card and how thick it is. So it's a trial and error situation with card.
There we go. And there's other things such as the t-shirt films. Obviously, that's one of the biggest uses. With each of these little bullet points that you can see on your screen, you can go into quite a lot of depth talking about the different types of materials within them. So when it comes to t-shirt garment films, there's
hundreds and hundreds.
So you can get sparkly ones, you can get solid colors, you can get like ones that when you press them, it changes the appearance of the material, so it goes puffy. Or it
it'll glow in the dark and all that kind of stuff as well. I will say with the glittery type films, if that's something you're looking at, you will need a different blade to get a good consistent cut. You may need a different blade for that and the one that comes with it.
Okay.
Because they are very thick material.
Yeah, so on certain materials, we'll talk through blades again in a second after this slide, but yeah, you might need to up the force or change your blade to get through certain thicker materials. And I think with the sparkly, shiny ones or reflective as well, they've got little particles within the material, and that's what the blade might struggle to cut through. So this is why you might have a slightly different blade. And just noticed a little question pop up there. Does the GS24 have automatic registration mark recognition contour cutting? And does the Roland cut software accommodate this?
I don't think the Roland Cut Studio does it, but Contour or Illustrator will. So Cut Studio, I don't believe has that function in it.
Okay. So it is possible, but not in Cut Studio, but in the other ones. So as you mentioned, all these different applications. You've got flock vinyl, which is kind of fuzzy.
Flock again is another really thick vinyl. I mean, if you're looking at doing predominantly garment, I would suggest two different types of blades. That's all you'll need. You would need a sandblast blade and a sander blade, because the sandblast covers the majority of thick garment type materials.
And here's just a few pictures of some different applications.
There's weeding.
Weeding, yeah, sort of down the bottom there. Somebody with a little tool plucking away at some text. On the bottom left there, you can probably see where that sort of fuzzy look is flock. And you get all different colors. We talked about doing sort of vehicle graphics, wall graphics.
Yeah.
Wall graphics is a very popular application, especially for plain blank walls at home. Lots of people like quotes across their wall.
That's really popular right now, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, or themed ones. If people have a kids' room, it might be nice to have kids graphics that are interactive. Maybe people learning the alphabet or something like that. And we mentioned reflective. You can see in the middle there's a picture of a police car, because you can cut reflective graphics or vinyls. And there's one on the middle-ish there that looks like little sparkly stones. Can you explain that one?
Rhinestones.
There you go. I think that's more Ronnie's bag than mine.
If you like your bling, these are obviously the shiny crystals that you see a lot these days. And as you'll see, the picture at the top is rhinestone vests for a wedding, which is a really big market for them. These are a bit more involved to do, and it runs on a sandblast film, which is like a thick rubber, or you can do it out of flock. And again, it cuts little stencils to put your rhinestones in, and then ultimately you put a heat transfer tape on, and then you press it onto your garment. but the GS24 will actually go that small. The holes are normally 1.5 to 2 mil, and it will do hundreds of those in one image.
Okay, so just to clarify on that, because I've never actually physically done that myself. I think it cuts out. You put in your design into some software, it creates.
Yeah, there's a software called Rware Studio, which is basically a rhinestone software. So it looks exactly the same as Cut Studio, but you basically design the rhinestones as opposed to lines.
Okay, and then you scatter your stones into the.
Yeah, you just you just draw some text, and you just press a button that basically says convert, and it converts all the lines to stones. And then you can move them around and do what you want from that point. And then the GS24 will see those round circles as vector lines, and it will just cut them.
Easy. No, sounds pretty easy to me. And then yeah, so you can get that nice sort of sparkly look to a bunch of applications. And then things like at the top right there, you can see some water bottles just with some cut text on them. Kids school stuff is a huge market. Lunch boxes, wedding, obviously all the different garments and textiles, meaning tote bags. And you can even do baseball caps and trainers and things like that as well.
Wedding favours bags, like organza bags as well. You can cut out the text to customise all those, which has been done recently. Quite nice.
So anything you can stick something on, pretty much. And just to go back to talking about the blades a little bit, we don't want to go into too much depth with this because we're going to start to get into the nitty gritty and the how to use and edit the machine and things. But there's a few different blades that Roland supply. Could you give us a quick overview of those, Ronnie?
Well, the 5032 is the basic blade that comes with the machine. So it's not very pointy. It just cuts through standard vinyl, standard garment films, anything that's just a finished type vinyl. Then that's one you'd need for most applications. But the next one, which is the 1715, that's the one that cuts through the thick garment films, the reflective, that kind of thing. So they're the two really that I would say you would need in your armoury. When you buy the machine, buy one each of those, and that will do you for most applications. You wouldn't need to worry.
Okay, so it sounds like things just those two are the main ones. You could experiment with the other films.
Yeah, I mean, if you start to do things like hard or really thick vinyls, then you want to start looking at a 3050. But to be honest with you, I think the top two will cover 90% of applications that you would use it for.
Okay, and then at the bottom there, you can see a picture of a blade. So the blade sits inside this little sort of little holder on the carriage, which holds the blade in place, and it's got a little nose cone at the bottom, which basically chooses how much of the blade is showing, so the extension of the blade, so to speak, which you can adjust depending on the thickness of the material. So it depends on what you're cutting, and this would all be explained obviously if you did have a GS cutter, or any of the cutters that we offer as to how you can do this. But you can basically have more blade showing or less blade showing, and the nose cone would protect you from cutting too deep.
Yeah, and you only need a very little bit of blade extension. You don't need to wind it right out. A little bit, sort of a nil over the end is enough. You don't need any more than that.
Okay, and then just to carry on from that, here's another chart which shows all of the Roland DG blades and what their settings are, what they would be used for, and what the angles are, what the offset is. So the offset is the Roland blades work like a shopping trolley wheel. So they move behind the center point as it's moving around. So they would have a slightly different offset, and they've got different angles as well, which gives you slightly different cutting depths and different points at the end of your blade. So what I'm just trying to figure out here if I can upload a file for you guys to download, which is this image that you can see on the screen. I'll try and do that at the end of the session because I can't exactly remember how to do it. So if you bear with me, I'll try and see if I can get that file available for download to you towards the end of the webinar. But if any of you have got any questions, feel free to ask about the different blade types. So once you've got a GS24, what would be the next options for you if you've already sort of got going with a cutter?
It depends how big you want to go really, because obviously the natural progression would be the BN20 being a printer cutter and 20 inches. But obviously some people might want to step right into it and step up to something like an SG. which for a couple of £1,000 more, but the size of the machine, the capabilities are far greater. So you've got three options here really. So I would probably, most people take the step from a GS and bite the bullet and go for an SG300.
Okay, so the SG300, just to clarify, that is the model that you can see on the right hand side there. It comes in two sizes, but the 300 would be the next step up from the GS24. So where it says SG300, that means it's a 30-inch wide bed, but it's a print and cut machine. So you can print your graphics and cut them out, which obviously saves you having to layer up.
Or you can use it as a 30-inch cutter if you've just got cut job. So you don't need to run it as a print and cut machine. If you've got a cut only job, and you just use it as a bigger cutter.
Very true. So it is a cutter within a printer. So yeah. So they would be a natural progression if you were looking to move away from doing single color stuff or layering to do multicolor stuff like you would with a cutter. But that you can also get bigger cutters. So we do the GR range.
Yeah, which comes in 42, 54, 64
inches. So yeah, we're looking at, what was that, 1.2, 1.3 and 1.6 meters ish in terms of the bigger cutters. So if you were just looking to have a cutter to go alongside or to step up from, you still just want to do cut work, or you want to get a print only device or something similar. So
most people will normally run a GS24 and a BN20 together. They actually both are very good as a two-ton.
And that's pretty much it from giving you a rough overview as how easy it is to get started. As I said, it is pretty easy. Once you've bought a machine, you can plug it in and you can get going. So we'll sit here for a little bit longer and talk through any further questions that you guys might have. And I'll also see if I can get that little image as a download for you. But there's a question that's come up saying, does Roland recognize crop marks from all the printers, or is it the software side? Let's get this up into the question mark a minute. So, this question up on the screen for you. Does Roland recognize crop marks from all the printers, or is it the software side? I don't quite understand, but I think if you add crop marks, you can choose to add them in your software, which it would recognize. It wouldn't recognize any crop marks.
No, it needs to be Roland crop marks, and then the optical eye on GS would register.
Yeah.
That the crop marks were there, but.
Oh yeah, sorry, not entirely sure to understand the question there properly. But we go to the next one quickly. What's the difference between the GR range and an SP300i? Ronnie, do you want to take that?
Well, the SP300 is a print and cut machine, and the GR range is just a cutter. So it depends what you're looking to do, really.
Yeah. So GS and GR. The GS is the one we've been talking about, the smaller, 24-inch. I say smaller because the other ones go up to 1.6 meters. Cutters, so just cut only. And then the SPI is a print and cut machine. So
at 30 inches.
At 30 inches, yeah. That's the main difference, obviously, is that you can print graphics and cut them out if you've got the SPI, or if you've got a GR, you can just cut graphics. Just wait and see if any further questions come in a minute. Sorry.
Oh, the SG and the SP.
Oh. Okay, what's the difference between the GR and the SG?
No.
Sorry, the printers. Okay, the two different machines that we showed in that picture of the SG range, they're just two different sizes. So within the, sorry, I think I'm understanding right. Within the SG range, so there is a, let's put this up a sec. The printers that we've shown before with the BN20, that's the TrueViz SG series. So it's a printer cutter that comes with in two different sizes, a 30-inch and a 54-inch. So it's eco-solvent, which means it's the same technology ink-wise as the BN20. It's bigger and faster. Pretty much the main difference. The BN20 is a 20-inch machine. and the SGs are kind of a bit of a step up,
Right,
especially in terms of production. Sorry, getting more questions coming in now, so just publish these up on the screen.
Okay, well, the SP range has been around a long time. It must have been around sort of 17 years now, so it's old style technology. The SG has been around for nearly 2, so the technology is a lot better. It's a whole new revised machine. So it's faster, it's better quality, cuts better. It's just a better machine now.
Yeah. So the SPI is the newest of the SP range, which is
That's probably
6, 7, 8 years old, something like that. Whereas the SG is only a couple of years old, and it's got new technology, it's got slightly different inks, it's got new print heads. It's quite a bit quicker than obviously the BN20 and the SP as well. Yeah, it's a lot more machine for your money. Another question here from Lee. So quite a few of the video tutorials we search for are quite dated. Does Roland UK have any tutorial videos available and where? We do have a reasonable amount of videos on our YouTube channel. So you just search for Roland DG UK. Or you can find a link on our website as well. If you go to rolanddg.co.uk and scroll down to the bottom, there's links to all of our social media channels, including the YouTube channel. And there's quite a lot on there. In terms of just the cutters, if you're looking for videos on how to use those, there's quite a lot in terms of the design software side of it.
There's quite a lot of user videos that people have uploaded as well, isn't there? Because I've looked through them in the past. So there are a lot of GS24 videos on there that people have done themselves. Yeah, and
you said that some of them are quite dated, which I can understand, but it's because there's not a huge amount has changed with the cutters in terms of how to use them. It's more that they're a bit more accurate, or they're faster, or they've got more power, that kind of stuff. But in terms of
software, even the software from the GX to the GS is the same, so it's very hard to show
something
newer.
Yeah. So maybe it's in terms of application and how you can use them afterwards. But yeah, by and large, there's not all that much in terms of new stuff, I guess.
We are willing to take suggestions for said videos.
Yeah, of course. If you've got suggestions for videos, or there's something in particular you'd like to see, you can get in touch, you can email us, you can give us a call, and we're happy to hear those. In terms of the Academy, so from my point of view, we are going to be working on a lot more videos moving forward, especially towards the end of the year. So yeah, watch this space, I guess, in terms of more video production. Okay, so another question that's come up here, let's just ping that up on the screen. So will there be any follow-up webinars on the GS for, say, how to use perforated cutting and applications for it? In terms of webinars,
it's a niche market, perforated cutting. A lot of people don't do it, really.
Yeah, it might be better for us to create a video for how to do a perforated cut on, rather than doing a webinar on it. I'm more than happy to do either, but and the applications of it, yeah, it might be better to do a video to show you what's possible. But in terms of the applications for perforated cutting, if you've got anything to
it would mainly be card pop outs, wouldn't it? So if you had a bit of card and you're cutting shapes out, I guess you would be doing perforated cut for that sort of thing, or maybe stickers on the GS. Not much color, so I think it'd be card pop outs if you were going to do it.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you wanted to cut through vinyl, but then also perforate around your cutout, for example. So I could have some text saying the name of a brand or a logo, for example, and then I could do a perforated cut in a circle so that it would cut out a sort of giveaway sticker with the backing sheet cut out as well. That's probably what you would use a perforated cut for.
I think we can definitely put a video together, can't we? Because people obviously want to see it, so it would work.
Yeah. So there's another. Yeah. Sorry. Paul was just saying that. Yeah. Sorry, I meant the video type webinars and the hands-on type ones. So yeah, we're going to be doing a lot more application videos and work, as I said, sort of more towards the end of the year. And any plans to produce live video tutorials? Yes. So this webinar was more talking through the setup, but we can do these webinars with webcam, so we can do these live. The stream depends on the person who's viewing its bandwidth as well as our bandwidth, so it means that we've done one already, and it can lag a tiny bit from your end, but more than happy to do it. So haven't seen that with fat fingers, that's quite all right. Yeah, we were happy to do live video ones where you'll be able to ask questions and things, and we can show you live. We've only sort of been running these webinars for a couple of months now, just sort of, you know, getting to grips and seeing how they work and things, and if it's worth doing. But yeah, if you guys are happy to or would like to see video tutorials, then yeah, we'll definitely see if we can put those in the diary for you. Another question: I've bought my GS from Germany. Does it still get covered for 2 years by Roland in the UK?
No.
No. Unfortunately not, no. With all of the Roland units that sell, you know, internationally, as in there are Roland units all around the world, we all cover our local business units. So we cover warranties for anything within our territory that we've sold, because it just would get way too complex with transferring warranties, and different units might have slightly different
criteria.
Yeah. So no, it's not covered by Roland in the UK. Another question: Are you guys hosting an intermediate course on the 5th of September? The intermediate digital print course, that will be myself, Joe, and my colleague Ollie, who will be running that course. That one is in the UK, sorry, in Cleveland. Then I imagine that Ronnie will probably be here.
I'm happy to help.
Yeah, if she's around. We run courses both in Cleveland and at Coventry. We've got 2 different sites. So if it was up at Coventry, then it would just be myself and Ollie. If it was down at Cleveland, then yeah, we'll be here, and we'll be hosting that as well. Ah, there you go, Coventry. So yeah, that'll be myself and Ollie. So we'll see you then, Mark. Any other questions from anybody? We can hang on for a few more minutes if you guys have got any questions. Don't forget that you can also email us. You can call us if you had any questions. If you did want to look at the machine and sort of put it through its paces, you can go to a dealer, as we said, or you can come here and see us. You can book in and spend some time with Ronnie on the machine. You can come and have a look around the Creative Centre and see a bunch of the other kit as well, and how they might be able to tie in together, because the GS24 is a cutter, it can be tied in with other bits of kit. So you could even buy a UV printer, for example, in which case you'd be able to print things and put them in the cutter and make packaging prototypes, or all sorts of different combinations of ways that you can use the kit. We hope the webinar has been useful for you guys. As I said, if you've got any further questions or anything, give us a shout. If not, we're just going to turn off the mic for now, and we'll hang on here just in case you guys had any further questions on the chat box as well. But thanks for joining us. I hope it's been useful.
Thank you.